time penalty from Harafat Diabate. For DR Congo and their coach, Dennis Makenga, the mathematics, they're agonizingly simple, to be honest. They must win. A draw or a defeat means elimination, but if they can secure 3 points today, then they will keep their World Cup hopes alive and could potentially sneak into the playoffs scheduled on the 23rd of May, where their best third-place teams will fight for survival. Adding fuel to this already combustible fixture is a fiercely regional rivalry. These two teams represent the UNIFAC zone, and I'll explain what that means in a minute, and they have known each other intimately. In fact, they clashed just a few months ago for the regional qualifying finals in Kinshasa, where Cameroon silenced the Congolese home crowd with the 2-0 victory. Cameroon know they have a psychological edge and the physical tools to overpower their neighbours. DR Congo, however, have the ultimate motivational fuel, the desperate need for revenge. 4-3-3 system break down the opposition, or the sheer desperation of the DR. From the tunnel, the atmosphere is building up, and the road to Qatar, is on the line. Sit back, relax, and get ready for what promises to be a thrilling encounter. And as we can see, the teams coming onto the pitch. I don't know if you can hear the CAF anthem. And in case you do, I'm just going to leave you very quickly. And of course, the national anthems have come and gone. Brilliant to see both teams singing so passionately as well. I don't want to scare anybody with this fixture, but there have been 4 games involving these two teams over the past couple of days. And, well, for Cameroon, they've only scored 1 goal, and Dominican Republic of Congo haven't scored any. But let's look at the team lineups. They are basically the same as the last game for Cameroon. The only person who's been brought in for this fixture is Ibrahim Jwel Team, who has basically played most of the second half in the previous game against Uganda. He's been brought into midfield. Apart from that, they're largely unchanged. Tsombeng and Baliag are on the wings, with the Masekon starting up front, and the back 5 haven't changed at all over the course of this entire tournament. In fact, neither of the front 3. Kingu starts in net as well, of course. So it is business as usual for Cameroon. And spoiler alert, the Dominican Republic of Congo are following a similar suit. It's interesting to see whether they're going to line up in the 4-3-3 formation that I've sort of been given and been tipped on, or whether they're going to change into that potentially 3-5-2, slightly more dynamic look that we saw them operate against Uganda, for Cameroon at least. In the Ivory Coast game, the Dominican Republic of Congo actually played extremely well. They were slightly unlucky to concede that penalty. They looked relatively strong at set pieces. In offence,
get the best deals on hotels with online-reservations.com. Enter
sort of juxtaposition between those two. Here is the DR of Congo lineups, and as I mentioned, it's very much the same back 5. And again, there's only one midfield change. That is the number 13 of Jan Elika Mbalaku, who has come in to start. He was brought on after 23 minutes, actually, in the game versus Côte d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast. But start in from the off here against Cameroon. Apart from that, the front 4 are largely unchanged. Some people believe it's a top 2 of Mbombo and Loco, or some people believe it's a more of a 10 position at Mbombo. We've got them down as sort of behind the attacking sort of role, to pick up little pockets and see if they can disrupt the Cameroonian defence, who do seem to have just leave one defensive midfielder back, Abdul Rahman, who seems a very capable box-to-box player. Of course, scored the only goal that these two teams have scored in this entire tournament was Abdul Rahman against Uganda, and it was a little bit scrappy, I'll be honest. It came out to him, it deflected. You know, it was a decent hit. It was a good connection, but it ended up ricocheting off a defender and into the back of the net. So for the Dominican Republic of Congo, this is a fight for survival in this tournament, and for Cameroon, an opportunity to secure it, not only playoffs, but a potential into the automatics, depending on how the other fixture goes. And it looks like we have Cameroon going from the right to left on our screen in the green and red shorts, and then the DR Congo going from left to right in the white to light blue. Cameroon trying to get on the ball early. Nice little turns in the midfield. I imagine both these teams are going to be very physically pressing for the majority of this game, and it's all about whether Congo can actually turn what might be a little bit of a stressed sort of team into a good performance. Now, that's not a good start from the Cameroon goalkeeper. Kingu just kicking it straight out of play. I don't know whether we were expecting a left back to be there. From what I've seen for both of these teams, they can be a little defensively lacking. Quite a few disorganized moments for both of them. That might just mean that we actually get some goal mouth action, which, let's face it, I think pretty much everybody here who is a neutral would like to see. I'm sure if you are a fan of either of these teams, you might not like to see it, but as we're about to mention that, actually, the goalkeeper comes flying out. It was very much offside. I didn't want to call it at the time, waiting for the referee to give it. The referee, by the way, is El Hadji Sai from Senegal. Goalkeeper coming flying out there, making sure that there was no question about whether offside was going to have to rule out a goal or not. They are not using VAR. They're using a different kind of system, FVS. I'll come to that in a second, because riding a good few challenges is the number 22 for Congo. Francolo is operating on the right wing by the looks of it, which is similar to what we've actually got given to us as the start list. It seems to be an exciting right winger. May well cause Cameroon's left back a few questions. Musa, number 5, as they get it back in the middle of the park. I think Congo would be very disappointed if they did come away with this from this tournament, having not scored a goal at all. I don't imagine qualification will come if they do manage to score. Defensively, we'll see how sort of keen they are to try and keep the clean sheet, because again, as I said, they're not going to win anything if they don't end up scoring. There's the coach for Cameroon, Jean-René Ayam. As I mentioned, not necessarily going to drop out today, unless obviously that Congo win. But in fact, let's give you the permutations while we're just getting into this match, because rather than me sort of guessing, I can give you them. I worked them out earlier. Scenario 1, let's say Cameroon end up with the victory, which is probably the bookie's favourite, elevates Cameroon to 6 points and guarantees a top 3 finish. It's highly likely secures a spot in the playoffs rather than automatic progression. It will be automatic if Uganda lose or draw against the Ivory Coast, who top the group at the moment on 6 points. If scenario 2 comes out, which is this is a draw, as the ball is scrappy on the right wing, then Cameroon will finish on 4 points. Historically, this is the golden threshold for advancing as a 3rd place team. Expecting to play defensive, possession-based football late into the game to make sure they actually get that playoff position, if this is currently the scoreline. And the last situation, if the Dominican Republic of Congo do end up getting the victory, they'll reach, the Republic of Congo will reach 3 points, and they'll need multi-goal victory to overcome their massive -4 goal difference to surpass Cameroon in the tie breaks. So even a 1-0 win might not be enough for the 3rd place finish here for Congo. Cameroon, they'll pretty much be frozen on 3 points, and unless they lose by a significant margin, they may well go into those playoffs. But if they lose, it's likely they'll miss out on the playoffs, actually. So, again, as I said, it sounds fairly simple. From Congo's perspective, they need to win. And from Cameroon's perspective, they realistically need to win. I mentioned that both these teams actually, as we see, attempted flick around the inside from New Francolo. No one there to receive it, though, and both teams are just trying to bed themselves in here with no real free-flowing football about. It looks like Cameroon are lining up defensively, at least in a 4-1-4-1 style formation, which they did actually play in the first game, but it left the striker a little bit wanting, to be honest. Masakone just slightly isolated, not really involved with the rest of the game, and couldn't get any service up to him. With formation, with the ball, they may well change that. Now, I wasn't even looking at whether that was looking at the screen when that ball was hit. Actually, I couldn't imagine there was going to be a shot from there, but what a goal it would have been. The ball gets lifted up to Ward. Arnold Massacon couldn't quite win it against Congolese defence as the ball gets lifted in and nicely taken by the goalkeeper. Now, what can Cameroon do? They realistically need to get a little bit of a foothold on this, because I would say from what we've seen in the first couple of minutes, Congo are definitely out there on top. On my notes, I've got Sombeng on the right wing, the number 10, who I believe is the person who's just fallen over and lost the ball to a potential Congolese attack. But the good defensive there by Bolo, the right back for... There's Bodo, actually, not Bolo. Number 22 for Cameroon. It's one of the centre backs, of course, with Mbinde, number 2. So there's number 2 and 22 are the 2 centre backs for Cameroon. Lovely little fake there to get away from the attacking pressure. But again, Congo, look how high they are pressing, and Cameroon cannot find a way out. I wonder if this is a bit of a surprise to Cameroon about how brave Congo are being, and is a header from quite a long way out, would have been outside the 18-yard box, and potentially one of the goals of this tournament. It wasn't to be in the end from the number 14, that is Imbombo, sorry. Who is that player that I was questioning whether they're going to operate as the number 10 or whether they're going to go into as a second striker. It looks like from the press they're going to be up next to them as close as possible, with Loco being the main focal point. Maybe Mbombo trying to get on the ball a little more. Nice turn there from the ever active, shall we say, Nkolo. No foul, says the referee. Now, I mentioned before that there's no VAR in this tournament. They're using FPS, which is an interesting system, which I much prefer, to be honest, where both coaches get a appeal card, basically. So the referee's judgment is law. On-pitch judgment is law, and unlike VAR, not every single decision is ran by a virtual referee or an assistant referee back where the game isn't played, shall we say. Instead, each coach gets an appeal, and when the appeal is lodged, then the referee will go over to the monitor and he will see replays and make his own mind up without external advice. And both teams, I think, get 2 in each match. Lovely turn there, as we'll come back to that in a second if we need to. It's an interesting ball out to the left wing. Just about gets there in the end, and the ball flashes across into the 6-yard box, goes out for a throw-in, but that's the first time we've seen Cameroon push forward. I think it was Musa who was coming in, the left back, to try and provide the cross in. Actually, when it was in the middle of the park, I thought there was going to be a bit more a bite through the centre. He sent it out wide. I felt like that just lost out on a bit of momentum. Speaking of momentum here, Mbombo steals the ball, goes for the shot. It was tame, it was easy, and a furious Loco next to him, wanting the ball played in, wanting a little bit more composure and quality, because look, Dominican Republic of Congo were through here, and maybe Loco was offside in the end by the time the ball would have been able to be passed over to him. But either way, it's not a good shot and an opportunity wasted. It does look like that Congo will end up with opportunities here, though. They don't need to rush or be too downhearted. There's a lovely ball over the top, over to Musso. He puts the first time cross into the front post, and the keeper gathers up relatively easily. I think it's ended up actually being a goal kick. Not the best crossover for Musso, but that's twice in about 2 minutes that they've managed to get a little bit of space on that side, and hoping to utilise it as we go through the next 80 minutes or so. And they managed to do it twice in the last 2 minutes. They should be able to make those opportunities again. Whether or not Congo will read it and sort of rectify the space and rectify the gap that's there is another matter. The number 4, Abdul Rahman, who's just provided the ball in there to the wing. Obviously the only goal scorer for Cameroon so far, but has been tipped as a very powerful and accomplished box-to-box midfielder. So we can expect to see him maybe dictating play, as that's a lovely little nutmeg from the defensive line, but he gives away a throw-in in the end. Cameroon try and put it in there quickly, but ends up being a bit of a poor throw. Is it going to be a foul, or is it going to be offside? I think it may well end up being a foul, actually, by the looks of how they're going to be lining up. Yeah, it is. It's going to be a Cameroon free kick, as one of the players goes down. The referee is giving him some attention. It's a Kidiaka Lunama being helped to his feet here. like TT, one of the wingers that we haven't seen much. Left wing, I think he's operating in. We haven't seen too much of them so far. Contingent of Cameroon supporters. Well, I saw one of them with a Cameroon top on at least. So a free kick that's effectively a corner here, a little bit closer. The goalkeeper's going to have to be careful that it's not going to be whipped in at his near post. Is he going to provide the ball in, or is he going to catch the goalkeeper off guard? It'd be a brilliant free kick if he can try and get this into the far corner. Let's see if the angle's there. No, I don't think that's going to happen. He tries to pass it along the floor, and it's well cleared out by Congo. So a free kick that didn't come to anything. And what was a half-decent position, he probably would have preferred it to be slightly further away from the byline. To try and get a bit more of an angle, maybe have a look at goal, put it to the back post. Cross gets put in, though. It's a bit wild, but it's brought down by Cameroon, almost trying to lay it off for someone. It looked like he was going to control it himself, to be fair, so I don't blame them entirely for running away from it or not expecting it, as the Loco ends up getting the foul. And it looks to be in pain as well. I think there was a clash in the air, and as he came down, it was a little bit painful by the looks of it. Strong physical striker, maybe not the most clinical, but as he goes up here, yeah, it looks like it's going to be a little bit of a dead leg. Nothing wrong from the Cameroon perspective, but not the easiest to shake off for Loco either. Cameroon, like I mentioned, have been a two-time under-17s African champions. Back in 2003 and 2019, they had to wait a long time for their second. That actually puts them pretty much on joint level with a whole host of other countries for double champions in this tournament. You see there's Cameroon, there's the likes of Gambia, who won it in 2007 and 2009. You have Ghana, who won it very early on, 1995 and 1999. You have Mali, who won it back-to-back, actually, 2015 and 2017. So they're hoping to be the first, and Nigeria, of course, who won it in 2003 and in 2007. So they're hoping to be the first team to actually win it 3 times in total, but that's going to be a bit of a hard ask because there's a whole host of other teams involved with this tournament that are going to be wanting to do a similar thing. As it's fed through, actually, and is that going to be a foul? I think the referee is claiming no. I think he just fell over, is what the referee is effectively saying. This is number 27 of Ronnie Baliag Nugi. On his shirt, it's just Baliag, so that's what I'm going to go with for the course of this game. Without there being too many major opportunities, there's been sort of little testing balls through the middle and over the sides for Cameroon. Congo in the first 5 minutes looked like they had a little bit of control without actually being a threat to Cameroon. And as we've gone over the course of this game, that control has somewhat wavered a little bit. Ball gets knocked down into midfield. It's a good collection and control there. Well, almost control by Kabundi. Ends up not quite getting it down at his feet, and a bit scrappy. It does end up in a Congo ball on the sideline. Ooh, nasty clash of feet there. Jwel conceding the free kick. Can be a nasty one, that. I don't think he meant it. It's just a clash of 2 players looking for the ball and 1 person obviously getting the ball first. As Congo look to flick it on, and good sweeping up there by the defence. There's an opportunity here. Can they spring an attack? No, good defence. Very well, actually, in the end. The number 15 centre-back, that is. Kidiaka, I'm just having to make double sure that I can see that on my notes. It looks like Kidiaka's actually been left on the floor. It was a good defensive maneuver from him to get round Masakon and actually carry the ball then a little bit further forward. Found the winger, didn't actually come to anything, so his whack is going to be a little bit painful, especially considering that his teammates simply take advantage. Masakon with loads of time and space to bring that down, doesn't use his midfield, and now he does. There's lots of space through the centre, and he tries to ping it through. Is there going to be a chance? Oh, that's very close throughout the area. Cameroon players are appealing for it. Again, no VAR. There's only appeals system. I'd be surprised if they use the appeals for that one, but both of the closest Cameroon players were convinced that that was actually outside the area, would be, of course, a handball. But there was lots of space through the centre as both the Dominican Republic of Congo players, centre-backs, actually moved up. Now, is there going to be an appeal? The referee just stopped it as the ball went out. I think there may well be. Yes, there is. So referee Al-Haji Sai will end up moving over to the monitor, and he'll make his own mind up, given the replays in front of him. I'm not entirely sure if we get the replays. We do. So this is the build-up. Loads of space for the middle there. The ball could have been a little bit better, but I understand the rush nature of wanting to get there. Oh, now is that ball over the line? I tell you what, that's close. His feet are definitely over the line. He's going to have a decision to make here. That is going to be very tight to call. You can see the ball makes contact with the line. So whether or not his momentum carries it out of it afterwards, the two attackers for Cameroon absolutely convinced that it was outside. Masakone and Baliag. That's what we need, a zoom, and we need 4K, but I don't think we've got it. Well, that's the moment he makes contact with it, and I would say it's on the line. But I am no referee, and I don't know the rules as well as they do, so let's see what they come out with. I have had this in a previous game. I think it was Ghana versus Senegal. I was proven wrong on that occasion. Let's listen. So the decision is that it wasn't a handball, effectively, and the game can continue from where they were. Now, it was what did go out for a throw, and there we go. So that is one of the appeals for Cameroon gone. They'll be slightly very disappointed with that, because it did feel like a little bit of a waste in the first 20 minutes. Still 0-0 here. No major chances. That was probably the biggest talking point that we've had so far in this game. Congo had opportunity here, though, as they move it into the midfield. Oh, first time shot. Well blocked. Can Cameroon break now? No, it's a terrible touch. And a pretty poor pass back in as well. Attempted Meg on the attacker from a defender is always a little bit risky. They're so high, Congo, to try and beat a press here. Here's a good opportunity, though. They move it out to the right wing. To Sombeng with the ball in. Oh, it was almost a good touch there by Masakon. But in the end, it goes out for a goal kick. If he just was able to trap that with his left foot and unleash a shot with his right, he may have had an opportunity. Maybe it would have been the best opportunity of the match. But the final 5% on what looked like a decent move ends up falling short. There's little senses that this game might be starting to open up a little bit in terms of chances or a bit of spice, because although this is quite a fierce rivalry geographically, it doesn't seem to have given that impression from the off. A few people taking pretty heavy blows, Kabundi being one of them, and of course Loco, who seems to be in the thick of it pretty much everywhere. Yeah, there you go. A bit of a elbow to the face if he was getting climbed over. Two players getting hit from the back, but they do get the free kick as a consequence. And then again, there's even more contact with the head as the ball was lofted in. I think that's the number 10. That's Kabundi yet again. That's twice in the space of about 30 seconds. That replay doesn't really go back far enough. And I think it's head-to-head, that one. Yeah, that's nasty. Both players going for the ball. Doesn't mean you don't take it any less seriously, though, of course, because head injuries, you do need to make sure that both players are up and about and are able to carry on. This is exactly what we should be seeing with a head injury, is to make sure that medical staff come on and that both teams are properly looked after, and all the rigmarole of taking them off the pitch, the concussion tests and everything like that, very, very important. I come from a bit of a motorsport background, to be honest, and they take it as seriously there as anything. Even if it's just an innocuous crash, they take you for medical checkups and concussion checkups and everything like that. And it's very similar to what football we're seeing more and more. If anything, I'd be an advocate for more tests on the sideline to make sure that all the players are okay. We actually had to make racing drivers take sort of normalized levels of tests so that if there was any crashes, we could see if there was any anomalies. Not sure if they do that in football just yet. Anyway, we are playing football, so back to Cameroon. And there's space in the middle, and there's nice little play there. He's could have gone himself, but he's just played what ends up being a little bit of a poor pass, and Congo managed to get back and make the tackle. Space for Cameroon not used. Is that going to be a theme of today? Lovely play here by Congo, though. And there's loads of space. That's a fantastic ball across, just a little bit in front of him. Just a touch too fast. Nufrankolo loads the ball in. A bit of a slap away from the goalkeeper. Wasn't convincing, but it did just about do the job. Again, most positive play from that right-hand side from Congo, from Nufrankolo. The ball in wasn't exactly the best, but he did make the best of what the ball was given to him, as there was loads of space for him to run into, but in the end, it was a little bit heavy. And the same as the Cameroon attack, probably about a minute and a half ago. Lots of space, but the ball wasn't correct, or wasn't executed correctly. Can't be too harsh on the Dominican Republic of Congo, because of course this is their first foray into the finals. It's a massive psychological burden, realistically, and the expectation of sort of rapid revitalization of the Congo infrastructure is the expectation to perform basically extremely high, given the fact that they've risen so quickly. So as Congo load it in, Cameroon do manage to get it clear. Just having a look at the makeup of both of these teams, or where these players actually play normally. The majority, I think all of Cameroon's players are from clubs within Cameroon and academy structures within Cameroon, whereas Congo got slightly different. Only a couple of players, well, only one that I can see actually. One from Saracels in France, which is Loco, their striker, who is playing, as I said, from a European club, and that is fairly unusual given the championship that we're obviously operating in and the age group that these players are in. given the fact that the Dominican Republic of Congo haven't been in this championship before, you can't really say there's any alumni from their historic phases in this championship or in this tournament. There is plenty from Cameroon, which we may well go through in a couple of minutes' time, seeing as this game is not really erupted into a fantastic amount of chances. And again, as the referee is sort of giving little free kicks and there's throw-ins going about, it hasn't really got into any kind of flow. I couldn't tell you what type of game plan either of these teams have, and maybe this is the reason why they're sort of down within the bottom two of Group B. That's a perfect example of it, really. It's just a long ball into the goalkeeper's hands. No real style or fluidity to go through the middle of the park. I wonder if that will come, especially from Cameroon, as there's lots of space for Abdul Rahman to pick the ball up as Congo then press into him. Look at that man-to-man pressing, though, as goalkeeper brings it all the way out in an attempt to try and force Congo to press him instead of the rest of the team. Launches it forward in the end. It does make a little bit scrappy nature, and I think there's going to be a corner at the end of it. Yes, there is. So Congo conceding the corner, I would say not needlessly, but a little bit panicky there. This is one of the first corners that we've had so far in this game. Abdul Rahman coming over to take it for Cameroon. We have had a free kick over there, haven't we? It wasn't a corner, I'm not sure if we've had one. But Abdul Rahman lofts it, doesn't really get past the 6-yard box. Not the best ball in at all, as nobody's going to attack it with their head on that sort of delivery. And Congo can again come out to try and press the ball. And press the ball they have. They managed to win it back. Cameroon not able to live with this. They don't do anything with it, though. As again, it goes back into the defense of Cameroon. Abdul Rahman trying to lift the ball over to this left-hand side of Baliag. He can take his player on 1v1 now. In fact, they're doubling up on him almost. Musa, who's had the 2 best crossing opportunities of the game so far. And there's a foul here. There's another sort of needless one, I would say. We've seen quite a few of these. There's going to be the first yellow card of the game, number 5 for Congo. Ngamba. Now, here's something interesting as well. Ngamba and all of the Dominican Republic of Congo players, none of them are on a yellow card at the moment. None of them are in threat of missing out on the next game due to an accumulation of yellow cards. However, for Cameroon, there is 5 players, and that is just the starting lineup that if they get booked, they will miss the next game. There's also one on the bench as well, number 19, Isidore Nathan Friso, Awumo Kada. So Abdul Rahman will be the one to provide the ball in. He's going to be hoping that it's slightly better than his previous corner was a couple of minutes ago. A little bit too central for him to whip the ball into the back post. They try and work a little bit of an angle. First time ball in. He looks onside just about, but should have left it for the player that was just sat behind them. So again, another header from about the 18-yard area. We saw one of them earlier for Congo. Now we've seen one for Cameroon. There's a foul now for Congo. So like I mentioned, those 5 players that if they get booked, they will miss the next game. A singular George Mbinde, who's of course one of the centre-backs for Cameroon. Abdul Rahman, who we've mentioned in the middle of the park. Abbas Musa Sharif, also the left back. And Carol Chris, one of the central midfielders, and Eric Bolo, number 14, who's operating at right back. So that is actually 3 of the back 4 for Cameroon. If they get booked, they'll be suspended for the next game, and their defensive midfielder. Only Bodo is number 22 has managed to keep it clean so far. So down the left-hand side here, Musa can try and tap it round. I think it's good defending in the end. Yes, it is. Benguil, who's had Musa sort of wrapped up since the opening couple of minutes, uses his body well, gets the ball onto his side, and Musa climbing all over him there to try and get the ball, ends up giving away the foul. An aerial scrap there between defense and attack. Yet again, ends up just coming back to the other side of the pitch. I mentioned Cameroon, some of their sort of legacy players who have played in this tournament for the under-17s and have actually gone on to have hugely successful careers, both internationally and obviously in club football as well. I mean, the biggest one you would argue is Alex Song, long before he became the indispensable midfield anchorman of Arsenal and obviously Barcelona. He was actually marshalling Cameroon's under-17s in the 2003 African Championship run, which, like I mentioned earlier, is actually one of the years that Cameroon ended up winning. So no real surprise that Alex Song burst onto the scene after that. Another one is Stefan Mbia. He was alongside Song in the midfield of Cameroon in that 2003 youth team. He enjoyed a massive career, actually. UEFA Europa League titles with Sevilla. He was at Marseille, QPR. So, again, one of those players that you may well have heard of over the course of the last 20 years or so. And just before I was about to read out a few more, it looks like there's a head injury yet again for one of the Cameroon players. The medical staff rushing on. With the age of these players as well, the last thing you want to do is delay any kind of treatment for head injuries. I can't quite see who the player is, given the fact he's on the floor, but hopefully he'll be okay soon. He is sat up, which is a positive thing. As we've seen some of the crowds. Plenty of fans who have turned up. Actually, I was really pleased. It was actually this pitch.
Uplift desk can handle up to 355 pounds of weight. So if I really wanted to, I can totally sit on this.
Innocuous for Ngamba. No, sorry. Abdul Rahman, wasn't it? Got the number and the team wrong there. Abdul Rahman, who's walking off, and as I said, it was fairly innocuous. I thought it was a head injury, but actually in the end it was just some kind of coming together, maybe that twisted some part of his ankle or leg. I'm not entirely sure. Either way, we're about to get underway, and hopefully he'll return back to the pitch. Ball dropped at Congo goalkeeper's feet. And that's Mambode. We may well see Abdul Rahman is actually back on. He was in left back, so he was out of position for where they gave the ball away, and that's a shot on goal. First one I think we've really had. And it is in Mbombo. A bit of a snapshot. We had a shot earlier from him, but it wasn't really with any conviction. I'd say that was a much better chance. And he actually hit it a lot better as well. He did a bit better of it. I wonder if we'll end up seeing a replay. So the ball gets stolen and it comes back out to him again. Realistically, you could probably argue he could have taken a touch there. The players would have swarmed on him quickly and may well have helped him to make a bit of a cleaner contact. It was low down to the goalkeeper's left. Kingu didn't make any kind of mistake. He kept hold of the, well, he got down low. He made sure he didn't go into the back of the net, that's for sure. He could have probably held on to it a little bit better, but pushing the back, I think, means that it's a Cameroon It is, yeah. Cameroon free kick. Abdulrahman stepping over it, trying to. They were trying to take it quickly as Musa was flying down that left-hand side, but he was stood over it. There's no one to aim at the back post, realistically. So what's he going to do with this one? No, he goes flat instead. Very rarely see those kind of deliveries actually end up doing anything successfully. And then in the end, he ends up passing it back to his centre-backs. Nice play here from Cameroon, but ends up falling flat right at the final killer ball. And again, they seem to take advantage, though, of Congo falling over. Ball whipped in, but the goalkeeper manages to hold on to it. He tries to run into the attacker. Mambote letting his defence do the job for him by launching it forward. So it hasn't been a half of vintage football, that's for sure. We've only had about 2 opportunities. Both of them have fallen to the feet of Mbombo. You would say both of them maybe wasted in how good they could have been. A little bit more composure, but this is lovely football from Cameroon, again involving Musa. Baliag tries to skip past his defence into 2 more, to be fair. But it's still good defence from Congo. So Musa with the throw in, and we're going to see a long one. No, it's directed down into the floor. No foul throw, though, this time. First time cross in, almost went out of play. Some of the Congolese players did try and signal that it went out of play. It's not the best clearance off the line. The goalkeeper came rushing out, and Cameroon have their best chance of the game. The goalkeeper, Mambote, just ends up flying out. He was never really going to get there, and the ball back across into goal. It was a good-ish goal line clearance. It did the job, let's put it that way. It wasn't quite on the goal line, but he was the last person. If it wasn't for that intervention by Kuduku, it was going into the back of the net. It wasn't too convincing, but in the end, he persists, and I think he ends up getting the goal kick at the end of it. It's Michaela, the left back, who's down on the floor. Kidiaka, my apologies earlier. I really need to write that name out again on my notes. I do apologise. The Kidiaka, who has ended up with the goal line clearances and the persistence to end up winning the goal kick. Speaking of goalkeeper, they're down as well. Mambote struggling with something. He was flying out to try and make the punch. Ends up missing the ball, and that looked painful. As the camera cuts away, it made me flinch as well. Hopefully he is okay. They do have a goalkeeper on the bench. Hasn't played a minute of football so far in this tournament. Flamini Foba Fingu. We could end up seeing a goalkeeper change in the first half here, which is not what we really want to see. It's definitely not what Congo want to see. Alika helping out there with the injury. Now there is the backup goalkeeper. Foba, I think, was probably warming up a little bit harder than he was anticipating he was going to need to 40 minutes ago. That sort of sharp spike of pain we saw on the face of Mambote definitely didn't signal that he was particularly comfortable. I mentioned quite a few older Cameroon players who have made it into the top scene, of course. if they had been in the tournament, you may have seen the likes of Johan Wissa for the Dominican Republic of Congo. I'm just having a look to see, does he land on it funny right at the end there? It looks like he maybe lands on the left hand and it jars maybe the elbow. Oh, yeah, no, they don't think that he's going to be carrying on. He's trying to do everything he can to try and prove that he is going to carry on, though, but I doubt it's going to happen. Every single player for the Dominican Republic of Congo are trying to etch themselves into a history books by being the sort of player, the likes of Alex Song that I was mentioning earlier, and Stefan Mbia. They're hoping to be the equivalent of that sort of impact for Congo. Try and bring them glory in this tournament and carry that on through the various age groups up to obviously senior level. Now, we haven't had a substitute for the goalkeeper, so he's stayed on for the time being. The goalkeeper who winces in that much pain on his left arm is certainly not going to be covering the left-hand side of his goal too convincingly, I don't imagine. But Cameroon actually need to work into some kind of shooting opportunity before they really have to worry about that. Collecting crosses will be a good indicator about whether he can actually carry on this match, though. That's going to mean a good few minutes added on into the first half. Ngamba launches the ball in, doesn't get very far, but it's straight back out to the Congolese midfield. And that's kicking the ball away, but doesn't receive any kind of card. And they take it from about 10, 15 yards away from where the foul actually happened. The referee doesn't seem to mind, and the Cameroon players carry on. Nice little bit of space in the midfield here. But again, good tackling and good recovery from Congo. If they had a little bit more quality in the final third, they may well have ended up with a fair few goals here in this first half. Because in that midfield, they are definitely the more powerful, overrunning team. Launched nice and high to try and win something, the strikers for Congo, but they failed to, and the ball gets played out here to Baliag. There's 1v1, cuts inside, has Musa, as he always is, trying to accelerate and provide assistance on the left-hand side. Congo end up intercepting it and then not taking advantage, although they picked the ball up here nicely and wasted it once again. Cameroon slow the ball down. We've only got 20 seconds left as the ball just gets launched into a corner. I actually thought it was going out of play. In the end, they get the throw in nice and deep into their Congo half. Let's see how much time is added on here. I imagine it's probably going to be in the region of about 5 minutes after that stoppage for Mbate. Sorry, Mambote. 6 minutes, yeah, so a little longer actually, I was thinking originally, but of course there have been other stoppages apart from that. Neither team have really taken the initiative here. Neither team have really etched themselves out as being favourites. Congo have had the better chances. Cameroon have probably had more of the ball. I would say Congo have definitely scrapped in midfield a lot harder. They've proved themselves capable of winning the ball back, but not capable of really turning it into anything with much teeth. Having said that, the ball is bouncing around inside the Cameroon goal area, and the goalkeeper does well to come out and claim that. Kingu, because of course it could have really gone anywhere. Cameroon quickly get the ball back into play after the throw in there. It's sort of scrapping around in the air rather than brought down. Great tackle. It's left a player on the floor though, looking hurt. Still on the floor, sorry, that player over there. Wouldn't be surprised if the referee stops it, and indeed he does now. So there'll be more medical treatment and therefore more time added on to this first half. One that has already been littered with Lots of stoppages. I think it's, again, a potential... I thought he was holding on to his face there, actually, but I think it's an ankle injury. Let's see what happens here. Yeah, no, he's been caught in between the legs, hasn't he? That's a bit of a shame, that one. It was a good tackle, but he did end up taking the player after, almost coming from the back. So this will be even more added time on, as I mentioned earlier. If you haven't noted, or if you haven't noticed, sorry, if you weren't tuning into the live stream that was a little earlier on, then I can confirm that the 2027 Under-17s AFCON Championship qualifying groups have been announced, actually. There was a nice live stream a little earlier on the CAF TV YouTube page, and I can tell you that for these two teams, Dominican Republic of Congo have been drawn into Group E with Equatorial Guinea and Sierra Leone and Zimbabwe. So they are Group E. And for Cameroon, they've been drawn into Group G with Comoros, Nambia, and Congo. Congo, of course, very different to the Dominican Republic of Congo. Or DR Congo, as I'm trying to shorten it and say it quickly. So Cameroon have it into the corner. DR Congo managed to get it clear and let the ball just fall out of play. It doesn't seem to be moving all that smoothly, does he? Number 7, Makela, left back for DR Congo. He launches the ball in without too much of an issue. Again, it's a lot of hitting towards the centre forward and hoping to get some kind of scrap. We see it yet again. Win the ball in midfield, win the second ball. That seems to be their tactic. It's the only thing I can really see too much from them. It's again a strong challenge through the back, this time by Makela. And pinged in towards the goalkeeper. No real chance of any player getting on the back of that. These two teams have played each other recently. I mentioned that in the build-up, and Cameroon and DR Congo clashed in the grand final of the UNIFAC, which is the UNIFFAC. It's the Central African Football Federation Union. If you are an English speaker or you are not a French speaker, effectively, the reason why it's called the UNIFAC makes a lot more sense if you look at the French pronunciation of the of what that stands for. But it's the it was the Under-17s qualifier in Kinshasa. I think in the end, Cameroon beat the Dominican Republic of Congo for that title. As again, an opportunity for Cameroon to try and break forward, but Dominican Republic of Congo players stepping over it, but for not long enough. And on the stroke of half time, this could be Cameroon's best opportunity. Cuts it back. Good search, good save, though. In the end, it's come back out, and it is 1-0 Cameroon. It's not been a half to remember, but it's a half where Cameroon will end up on top. It was a good save first off, but as it bounces back out to Sombeng, sweeps it home. We haven't seen much of him at all. He gets his name on the score sheet, and he won't care about his first half performance as long as Cameroon win this game. Originally, it was a very good save by Mambote. Massacon will probably be quite disappointed the fact that he didn't get the goal himself, but he won't mind too much as long as Sombeng ended up being there to sweep it home. Fantastic celebrations means that Cameroon are 1-0 up. Omar Sombeng on the score sheet, scoring Cameroon's second goal of the tournament, and what a vital goal it could be, because that could make them safe into the next round, or at least into the playoffs to get into the next round. And that is half time. To be honest, I'm surprised we haven't had another couple of minutes, because we had a few more injuries going down during that period. But it is Cameroon who scored with effectively the last kick of that first half. Dominican Republic of Congo go into that one. That half, still not scoring a goal in the entire tournament, not being able to keep a clean sheet either, and the bottom of the table for the time being. Half-time, Cameroon 1, Dominican Republic of Congo 0, as both teams have a little bit of a chat on the pitch before they go into the dressing room. Just before that, you would argue that the two best chances of the game actually had come to the Dominican Republic of Congo, both falling to the feet of Mbombo. But both of those chances were taken from outside the box and a little bit tame, not really catching the ball quite as they would like.
Voilà, va prendre, va prendre. Vas-y, va prendre le ballon là-bas. La tête. La tête. La tête. La tête. La tête. Oh, oh. Oh,
留下，加个底。
Ça, c'est pour tuer l'adversaire. Bah.
So as the teams come out onto the pitch from their halftime team talks, it is Cameroon 1, Dominican Republic of Congo 0. As you can see, that goal coming very late into the first half. I had said before that I would have a look at the XG because I didn't believe it was going to be that high. And I said I was surprised at 3 shots on target from Cameroon. But to be honest, of course, 2 of them came from basically that goal. The first shot from Masakon ended up obviously being a bit of a point-blank save from Mambote, but then it ended up falling out to Sombeng to sweep into the back of the net. And therefore, the XG has rocketed up for Cameroon to 0.65, whereas Dominican Republic of Congo only have an XG of 0.13 from 3 shots on target themselves. So that just goes to show that although the shots may have been there, there's 4 shots each and 3 on target each, doesn't necessarily mean that they're particularly amazing chances. And amazingly, an equally surprising stat, I would say, there's only been 1 corner in the entire first half. I said when Abdul Rahman went out to take the corner for Cameroon that I can't remember there being a corner previously, but I just couldn't believe that that was the case. So I didn't say it with my chest, but I was right. It was only 1 corner. Dominican Republic of Congo haven't had a single one. In terms of passes, there's been about 70% each have been successful. And there's been an awful lot of tackles in the middle of the park. That's especially for the Dominican Republic of Congo. In fact, I'm just seeing if there's any stat that sort of wins. Yeah, wins. Jules won, sorry. My days, I thought that went in. I could not believe what I'd just seen out of the corner of my eye as I was reading down my notes down below. That shot was attempted by Cameroon off the halfway line. Wow, oh, wow. What a goal of the tournament would have been missed by the commentator. Anyway, we get back underway, and we don't seem to have had any changes in the last game I was commentating on, Ghana-Senegal. There was, I think, 7 changes at half-time. There doesn't seem to be any so far in this match, but there does seem to be a bit of bandaging for the Dominican Republic of Congo goalkeeper Mambote. Remember, he was down for a good 5 minutes receiving treatment before he ended up just saying, "I'll play on," and he's still out there making big saves as well. Actually, it wasn't really his fault. Now here is the move. Yeah, it took everybody by surprise. What a goal that would have been, and a bit of a shame that it didn't go in. Although, as I said, it would have been taken this commentator by surprise. So Cameroon have an opportunity, but again, the pass wasn't strung together. Loco trying to hold the ball up, does bring his midfielders into play. That is how Group B currently stands. They're drawing in the other game, Uganda versus Côte d'Ivoire. So that means they are currently on 4 points for Uganda and 7 for Côte d'Ivoire. Cameroon obviously on 6 points as it currently stands. If Dominican Republic of Congo end up scoring, that changes just a bit yet again, but it probably realistically just goes back to how we started the day, because obviously all 4 teams would have ended up just only adding 1 more point. This is lovely football by DR Congo as well. The ball gets lifted in, but it ends up being their first corner of the match. It's exactly the same corner that Cameroon took theirs from actually earlier on. Now, who's going to actually end up taking it? It's number 7 who's waltzing over there. That's Michaela, who was in the wars a little bit in that first half. A couple of ankles may well have been nibbled at, shall we say. There's lots of fouls, 12 for one and 11 for another. Michaela brings one in. It's a good lofted ball, but it ends up being quite nicely positioned for Kingu. And he tries to let Cameroon break. Ball getting carried up by Sombeng, the goal scorer, of course. Nice little give and go opportunity here. There's plenty of space for him to run into. Only one to hit in the box, and he ends up not being able to get there, actually. Too heavy on the pass. Slightly more ambitious start for both teams, though, in the early stages of the second half, rather than the sort of slightly cagey, finicky affair that we had most of the first half. Dominican Republic of Congo, though, now no, they have to go out and score. That will leave not only spaces at the front, free-flowing attack at the front, but spaces at the back as well for them, for Cameroon to potentially exploit. Loco, the only European-based player on the pitch, getting frustrated at the rest of his team. Plays his football in France, of course. Like I mentioned in the first half. So Cameroon will be very pleased with what's going on around them. The only way it could get slightly better for them, in fact, no, this is about as good as it can get for the Dominican Republic, for Cameroon. Sorry, they can automatically qualify in the top 2 positions, and Uganda will have to go through the playoffs with 4 points, which puts them in a very strong position for the playoffs. Don't get me wrong, but it probably means in the other game that's going on right this second that Uganda will have heard that, and they will be going hell for leather. Remember, they actually beat Dominican Republic of Congo 3-0. They actually had 10 men while they scored the 3rd goal. And it was a great finish as well. If you didn't have a chance to go and watch it, you definitely should. The table toppers have beaten both Cameroon and the Dominican Republic of Congo as Cameroon get it down the right-hand side. He had a little bit of time to try and lift his head up and provide a good ball in. Ends up being defended well. A flick on here, and Loco picks it up. Oh, as we just get caught there, TT. He had a nice little body feint, and I think he just got caught on the ankle or on the foot. Here's Loco, not the best control. TT uses his strength well, and then he gets stood on with that right shin. Back on. I hope they've done their cardio over the course of leading up to this tournament, the medical team, because frankly, they've been running on and off this pitch relentlessly for both teams. And they try and stretch out the pain. They know more than me. I'm not entirely sure what the plan here is, but it's definitely not making TT any more comfortable for the time being. Could end up seeing some substitutions as on your screen right now. I bet that was number 12, Justin Kalubu Longo. This is it from a different angle. Look at that right foot. Oh, yeah. It doesn't get better the more times you see it, that's for sure. And as I said, I don't think it was intentional, but that doesn't mean it's any less painful, as he's somewhat hopping, skipping, and jumping, not quite the jumping, off the field. He's not going to be winning any awards in long jump, that's for sure, the way he's moving at the moment. Oh, indeed, the triple jump, which is what I was going for, though. Cameroon will get us back underway. It could instigate the first substitution that we'll see in this game, though. Although we saw Mambote Onga treatment and not come off, so it's anybody's guess, really. Cameroon flooding forward, though, and trying to bring in Musa again on the overlapping run, but Baliag's ball into him, yet again, not really being the right one. Just behind him in the end. Opportunity though for DR Congo to load the back post. The deliveries on set pieces haven't really been that fantastic so far. Pretty much sums up the game really in terms of the final ball quality. But they've got a chance here. They can get it right. Ngamba, not the best again. He needs to go a little bit further than that, or to be flicked on, I suppose. But there's an opportunity here. It's not the best ball in, but Loco has a couple of steps on it. Tries to whip it in back across the box. Mbobo trying to put himself about and get the free kick, but in the end, actually gives it away. Yeah, there's a foul there, deems the referee. Wasn't Mbobo, my apologies. He popped up in the number 10 position. He is the number 10, but it's Kabundi, who on my sheet is playing more of a deeper line playmaker role, which is why it's getting a little bit confusing. Number 10 is not playing in the number 10 position. He's playing in a slightly deeper role. So again, Dominican Republic of Congo, I should say, actually launch it forward. Now, he had a decent flick on then, but he only had two people around him. It wasn't, neither of them were where he was aiming it. Cameroon managed to win the ball back, if not briefly, yet they do have foot on the ball. Bit of space out here on the right-hand side, although they try and charge through the centre. Referee's going to give them the free kick in the end, but again, it's the Congo's midfield that's so hot. Cameroonian midfield, they can never seem to get a bit of a break going, and this probably a good tactic to have by DR Congo. So we are going to have a change by the looks of it. Baliag coming off the pitch. So the first substitution of the game. Baliag off. And Kada coming on. Well, to give him his full name, Isidore Nathan Priso Awumu Kada comes on at left wing to replace Baliag, who really has not really done that much, to be fair, in this game. Not been the best connection with Musa either, so they'll be hoping to improve that space because Musa has been flying forward at pretty much every opportunity. Nice little interplay here by Congo's right-hand side. Loco chests it down well. It's just behind, and Loco's fuming. He's not afraid to let his feelings be felt and to be known by his teammates as Cameroon this time get the better of Congo midfield. Tried to move out to the right, but again, almost runs it straight in. The ball ends up there eventually. It's not whipped in to Sombeng, the goal scorer. Gives a little bit of a turn. It was a nice bit of skill. In the end, it doesn't actually really help out, and there's a sort of a wayward shot that gets blocked easily by Masicon. I think a few people were hoping that Sombeng would end up just putting the ball in. My goodness, this is confident play in the back line. And Gamba and his goalkeeper playing with fire somewhat, and managing to get away with it for the time being. They need to bring the ball down here to DR Congo. Try and isolate a couple of the players. They've had good interchanges, good sort of pieces of play and triangles through the right-hand side. We've seen that certainly a lot more than we have done on this left-hand side for the first half. Second half, I apologize. Remember, it was two that these two teams met, to Cameroon and Dominican Republic of Congo. Have an opportunity here. Nice little touch. And again, good defending by Cameroon, though. Right at the last, inside that area, they haven't really been able to manage to manufacture anything, even if they've had good play leading up to it. Second half possession stats indicating exactly what I was thinking, and the fact that DR Congo have had a better possession, more of the ball, 55%. They are having it in slightly threatening positions without actually getting the shot off, but it is slightly better in Bombo trying to wiggle their way through. Cameroon, a 1-0 lead is not the most solid thing in the world. It's still a little bit fragile. They'll know that. They need to win this, not quite as much as Dominican Republic of Congo need to win it, but they still need to take the future into their own hands, and that is by taking 3 points and not worrying about Ivory Coast or Uganda. So a short corner to work a little bit of a better angle. There's plenty of players at the back post, but they don't nod it back across. In fact, they end up jumping all over each other, and the ball goes out of play. And Gamba, who was stretching for it, maybe not the best person to actually go for it in the end. But to be fair, neither was Kidiaka, who was the number 15, reversing all the way to try and get that. But maybe he got in the way of Ngamba. That's why they were probably having a discussion. And the centre-back, Kidiaka, this time misses the ball and end up just about winning the foul. I don't think Masicon is going to be too happy about that. It didn't look like there's too much in it. Masicon, poor touch. To be fair, I think Kidiaka actually gets away with it because he looked like he was falling over already. Speaking of falling over, that one looked a bit painful. Both players get back up. Luckily, they weren't over to the Astro or any harder areas of the pitch, but the shoe to come off, that must have been something. They end up standing on each other. Yeah, they do. Ooh, yeah, that could have been a nasty one again. We've already seen that once so far in this game. I think it was TT actually earlier, wasn't it, who got their foot stood on, their right foot, and he's actually on the left wing here, the number 11. He seems to be moving absolutely fine now, so that's a bit of a relief. Hopefully it isn't just spray painkillers and adrenaline that is keeping him going, and hopefully he is okay. Half an hour to go then. Cameroon's still 1-0 up. I wouldn't say completely in control of this game, though. They haven't had any big chances in the second half. Could this be the first? No, it isn't. The referee giving Cameroon a free kick there. It's a lot of high, scrappy play, isn't it? Trying to win the battle between striker and defender. That one, Loco was deemed to just nudge his player out of the way. And Binde ends up on the floor. Loco on his feet, therefore Cameroon get the free kick. We play it out between the centre backs now. That could be a great ball in. Through on goal. Is this 2-0? No, it's a great save. Fantastic save by Mambote. I'm not sure if it was going to be offside. It didn't look offside from the initial real look at it, but slow-mos and everything else could prove otherwise. But the referee's flag didn't go up, so therefore it's not offside, I suppose. And that was an opportunity. Cameroon's best one of the second half. And this is lovely play. Here they go again. Another opportunity to make it 2-0. And again, Mambote just shepherding the ball out to Sombeng would have been the player to try and sweep that one in. It was great play through the centre from Cameroon, who seemed to have woken up through the centre of the park. Two great opportunities within a matter of about 30 seconds, neither of which have been taken. 2-0 would feel an awful lot safer than 1-0 if they could have managed to get that one in. All of a sudden, the ball's getting passed a little bit more zippy. The ball is getting controlled a little bit better. It's sticking to the feet. The ball's just landing for them for the time being. It's space and opportunities here. Chris lifts the ball over to Bolo, who skins one, gets past another. Can he produce the ball? He gets past three. Is that going to be a penalty? I think he's given it as a dive. He has. Yellow card incoming for Bolo. And Bolo is one of the 5 players for Cameroon who ends up suspended if they get booked in this match for the next game. And it did look like, difficult to tell. I'm not going to pass judgment on that one, but the referee gave it as a booking, and that is what we're going to go with. So Eric Bolo will end up missing the next game if Cameroon actually make it that far, which as it currently stands, they will do, whether it's going to be a playoff or a automatic route through to the next stage. Eric Bolo will not be playing a part in it. And that'll be the first change that actually Cameroon will make in their back line, because all 3 games so far started with the same back 5, including the goalkeeper, Musa Mbinde, Bodo, Bolo, and Kingu in goal. Is that Bolo on the floor, just as I was mentioning them? Or is it Jibril? I saw the number 1 on their top. Not sure if it's 14 or 15. 15 is Jibril. Yeah, in fact, there's Bolo, isn't he? Walking over to him. Yeah, Jibril, so he's on the floor. He was the only change of the entire Cameroon starting lineup. What's gone on here? Actually, he was in the background, wasn't he? Yeah, he just gets pulled to the ground off the ball. Referee ends up letting him have some attention. But Jibril ends up actually coming in for Willie Cardin Umbe Sandio even, who gets dropped for this game. Started the first couple of games. So if they do need to sub him off, I'm sure Sadio would not be too disheartened to come back on and try and prove himself back into the starting lineup. A couple of the Dominican Republic players are actually not able to take part in the starting lineup due to injury. I'll get onto them in a second, because Cameroon look to be going through it again. It's another good sweep and tackle by Bengal. And that is a big challenge here. We could be seeing yet another booking. And booking does get gifted out. Just wait to see if we get confirmation about who that was for, as it was on the other side of the pitch from what I could clearly see. There's injured players for Dominican Republic of Congo, Benjamin Kombasala and David Odokane Medilo. Yeah, it was number 5 actually, wasn't it, in the end, committed that foul. Musa, who is yet again another player that couldn't afford a booking, actually. So Abbas Musa Sharif ends up with another booking. That's another player in the back line that will not be eligible to play for the next match, whoever that may be. Score at half time, by the way, between Côte d'Ivoire and Uganda was actually 1-1. It's still 1-1, I can confirm. Loco was getting up in the end, mopped up by Cameroon. Sombeng trying to have a little bit of a connection with his other players around him as one of them goes down. That's Jibril. Maybe that's a signifier that he may end up having to go off here. Second time he's been down. This one, he just basically passed it out of play and fell over. So it is going to be a substitution, I imagine, as the treatment are not allowed on the pitch just yet. Oh, yeah, he's having to get stretchered off, apparently. So that is very disappointing to see. Ibrahim Jibril Anusa played most of the second half in the previous game, was brought into the starting lineup, has managed 67 minutes, and then he'll end up having to go off injured. There's a whole host of instruction and changes that's going to be brought on here. So the player we saw with a few notes there was actually number 7, Mikel Roffing, Gabriel Mbat. So I imagine there'll be wholesale changes in the midfield in a couple of minutes' time. Mbat is actually a forward, so Cameroon altering the forward line and probably a host of other areas. Definitely going to be the midfield as Jibril goes off. And the number 13 of Ansiat Alan Mbida comes on. Massacon ends up coming off as well. They'll be replaced by number 18, Alain Traoré. We'll see how they line up in a second, because just because they change out for certain players doesn't necessarily mean they'll play in the same positions. Mbida with his first touch of the ball. Nice takedown, actually, from a pinged ball into him from the goalkeeper. Not the best second touch in the world, but looks to be operating within that midfield yet again. Traoré in the number 18 will likely go straight into that striker position. You actually see him there, and it looks like maybe Sombeng has come off as well, because number 7 has come on, and that was Mbat. Get confirmation of all those shirt numbers. So a new front line for Cameroon. Kada operating at left wing, Traoré through the centre, and Mbat on the right wing. Hoping to be potentially a little bit more potent, or free-flowing at least, than the original 3 that started the match are. They have played 3 games in the matter of a week, though, so maybe there is a little bit of fatigue coming into this game, something we haven't spoken about too much, but is highly potential. Good flick on by Loco. In the end, nothing doing. 3 DR Congo players trying to burst through, and 1 Cameroon defender to try and sweep it up. This looks like a bit of a nasty one yet again. Is it going to be a clash of heads? Oh, yes. Musa gets a clattering with an elbow. Ends up able to carry on. He's actually the one who makes the clearance in the end. And again, going up, giving as good as you can get. And I think that's with the elbow this time as well. Going back the other way, Musa. Kabundi saying that's with the elbow as well. And let's have a look here. It wasn't quite with the elbow. But this is an opportunity for Dominican Republic of Congo to actually get it into the box. Now, the delivery needs to be an awful lot better than anything we've seen from set pieces so far in this game. I said that the DR Congo were weak from set pieces defensively. Well, they've not been the best offensively either. But Cameroon haven't been much better to try and take advantage of that. I mean, when DR Congo lost 3-0 to Uganda, it was actually due to 2 set pieces that they ended up conceding. And then the third goal was a bit of a break. Loads of space here on the right wing. Umbar, I don't think that was the ball. The ball was attempted to go through him. I think it was attempted to go through to Kada. Shikudi coming on for Loco. Loco hasn't really been able to gel this team together just yet in the front line. We're hoping for that change in the middle, number 2. Potentially help a couple of these touches in the box that don't seem to have really gone the way of DR Congo just yet. As the ball gets launched into him, can he hold it up this time? No, he can't. He's getting a second chance, and the touchdown does end up going to one of the DR Congo players, and it's absolutely blazed over by Michaela. And they may even have to go and get another ball back ready to play for the rest of this match, because that one has disappeared. Very wild left swing at it. I mean, from that angle, you're going to have to produce something special. And unfortunately for him, that was definitely not special. Shikudi, though, ends up coming on and instantly trying to link a few of the balls in and to try and bring the midfield into it a little bit more. And maybe his wingers as well as Cameroon set on the attack. Is there going to be a foul? No, advantage? Not even an advantage, as Abdulrahman actually brings a ball in. This could fall to Umba, but it doesn't. Mambote, I think it's going to be, is that offside? Abdulrahman with a lovely little ball in, and it just wasn't taken from Traore. To be fair, Mambote might well have been close enough to try and to actually save it. A touch round the goalkeeper would have probably been the play from Traore, but it didn't end up happening anyway. And it didn't run close enough to Umba for him to take advantage. Here is Umba. Lovely little body feint there to try and get from one. Tries to break through, ends up getting fouled by Makela. As he's getting back up, he's struggling as well. We've had a lot of this over the course of this game. It's been so stop-start. Shoelace game undone. I don't know if that's anything to do with the foul. I don't know. Yeah, booking has been given out to Makela. I believe that's the first yellow card we've had for Congo. We've had 2. I just haven't managed to note the other one down. Makela and Kidiaka, I believe. Sorry, no, Kidiaka and Gamba are the 2 yellow cards we've had so far in the game for DR Congo. And they're on the attack here through the right-hand side. They need to produce something quickly. I mean, they need to produce two things quickly, realistically. They've got 15 minutes to win this game. A draw will not be good enough. A draw wouldn't do anything for them. A draw would be exactly the same as effectively for them as a loss would be. So 2 goals is what's needed. I'm slightly more surprised that we haven't actually seen more gaps for Cameroon to try and exploit. It's not like Cameroon haven't had their chances. Umbat trying to get through on this one. McKellar sweeping up, but I think it's going to be another offside. I'm not sure it was offside, actually. I'm not sure what the referee is called here. He's not going over to his monitors. There's no appeal. And actually, it's a Cameroon free kick from the halfway line. There has been 39 fouls so far in this game. I said it was stop-start. Well, it's been very stop-start, and half-decent control off the chest, but a pretty bad touch after that as 2 Cameroon players go down, and there's an opportunity here to feed through a couple of them. They've gone right, Dominican Republic of Congo. And a player we haven't seen much since the first 10 minutes, Nufwankolo, ends up dribbling it straight out of play. But there was such an opportunity to get TT through on goal. If they just managed to play it through onto the left-hand channel, I don't know if we'll see it this time. This isn't far enough back necessarily, but that's just watching Nufwankolo get bettered by it. Now, at this point here, Shkudi could have ended up just sliding in TT on the left. Would have had to be a good ball, but that was probably their opportunity rather than going the other way. As I said, we haven't really seen that much from Nufwankolo actually attacking their defenders, taking them on and getting past them. Nagamba sending the ball high and mighty. TT trying to zip it into the midfield. They've got a little bit of space in the mid area of the pitch now. And Nufwankolo getting beaten to it. Lots of energy from that front line now of Cameroon. You would expect so. Kada, Traore, Umbat trying to press as much as they possibly can on the back line of DR Congo. Nufwankolo trying to beat his player yet again, but it's good defending by Musa, showing he can defend just as well as he can go forward. He goes down for his efforts as well. Never quite on balance, and then just gets a touch to the back. The assistant referee gives the free kick. And Binde stepping across to take it and taking a very long time to do so, which you can't really blame them for, given the fact that obviously this means that they are going through as it stands. Through the automatic places, the top 2 with Ivory Coast, they're still 1-1. Ivory Coast and Uganda still drawing, which means Ivory Coast will be on 7 points, Uganda will be on 4, Cameroon will be on 6. This is exactly the dream situation for Cameroon. Doesn't really matter to them if Ivory Coast end up getting another goal and winning it. The positions will all stay the same. I suppose it will solidify it for Cameroon, but really, again, as I mentioned quite a few times so far in this game, they just need to take it into their own hands. They need to take 3 points out of it and make sure they come away with a victory and that nothing is left to chance. DR Congo going to launch this forward and try and hope that Shkudi can get his head on it. It wasn't quite even that far, actually. A bit scrappy in the midfield, but this is Umbar who gets his shirt pulled back. And again, the flow, any kind of indication that there's going to be any kind of flow is stopped, and a yellow card is given out on TT. At one point now, I thought it was actually on Michaela, but which would have led, of course, to a red card. Michaela having been already given a yellow. Mba has probably been told to really attack that side, make sure that if there is a red card to be given out there, he try and finds it. That will really stunt DR Congo's attempt to come back into this game. Not that we haven't seen 10 men score and win in this game. Sorry, not in this game, but in this tournament, I should say. Of course, we saw it against Uganda against DR Congo, and we saw it with Senegal and Ghana. Senegal winning that game, of course, 1-0 earlier a couple of days ago on Sunday. So Group B on the bottom left of your side. Côte d'Ivoire have taken the lead against Uganda, which means they've been put on 9 points. Uganda down to 3. As I mentioned, doesn't really make much of a difference to what these two teams need to do. But it does mean that if Cameroon concede here, I suppose, against DR Congo, then it means they'll actually go to 4 points, which still puts them in second place. So yes, it does actually have an impact. It means that, of course, Cameroon have a little bit more of a cushion going to this last 7.5 minutes. Now, if I was the coach or any fans, I would not be telling my team that, because, of course, you want to make sure that you seal out a victory. But a draw would get them into those top 2 positions still. So Mba seems to have well, there's a little bit of coming together with Kabundi there. I don't think the referee was having any of it. Cameroon playing nice football at the pitch in the centre. There's no real offering in midfield. A massive space. The ball ended up going into, but no one was keen enough to actually try and support them in that area of the field. Straight back to the defence of DR Congo, and again the ball in is just not quite good enough. I don't think I've seen either team, link a pass up in that entire stage since that little nice sort of interchange between Cameroon. So looking to spread the ball along then. Mbinde tries to find Mba, who's putting the goalkeeper under pressure. But Mambote takes it down nice and easily, rolls it out to his defender. Rolls it down, kicks it out to his defender, I should say, as they try a similar sort of thing. Good win by Musa. Smart footwork. Well, smart footwork by Mbida. I think there's going to be a substitution. Yes, there is. So the number 24 is coming on. That's Jesse Wunda Ndu for TT. A move that I thought we were going to see quite a lot earlier, actually. So Wunda on at left wing. Jesse Wunda Ndu. Name on the back of the shirt is Wunda. What can he do over the next 5 minutes? As I mentioned, DR Congo, they don't want to crash out of this tournament without a goal. They need to score 2 if they've got any chance of actually not crashing out at all. That is still how it stands. Group B at the bottom of the table is DR Congo with a -5 goal difference and 0 points to their name. Cameroon in second place. Ivory Coast on top and Uganda in third. And with 3 points, they'll have to try and go through the playoff stages. So long throw here, long-ish. It's not quite been penetrating into the 6-yard area, but the ball has flashed across the 6-yard area. No one there to attack it. And they can try and do the throw from the other side this time. McKellar coming over to take that one. Shkudi trying to pin the defenders as McKellar attempts to find a teammate to give it to. Loads it into the box. Shkudi given the option of trying to win it, but ends up just fouling the defense of Cameroon. And Binde taking a heavy hit actually from Mbombo. Sorry, no, Kabundi. I've done that again with the number 10s. The number 14 playing in the number 10 position, and the number 10 playing in the deep line playmaker role. Getting all kinds of mixed up. An opportunity here for Cameroon to seal it if they can try and nip the ball away from good defence, actually. I think that was Kidiaka. Strong centre-back play, and Wonder's first intervention ends up giving the ball straight back to Cameroon, who ping it back to their back line. DR Congo pushing as hard as they can, as they need to, with 2.5 minutes left to play. And again, I would say, to be fair to them, the defensive partnership of Kidiaka and Ngamba has actually been quite solid. McKellar on the left back has been good, and so has Bengal at right back. Really, there's been 2 opportunities for Cameroon. One's ended up with a goal, and the other one was earlier in the second half. And apart from that, they've been fairly solid. He says that, the commentator's curse. And they give it straight to them, though. Cameroon with an opportunity. They look to force it to the wing. Kada lifts it in, and to no one. He ends up having 3 people at the back post, though. He didn't pick out a single one, which is a passage of play that pretty much sums up this game, unfortunately. There's been a lack of quality in the final couple of passes as they're trying to penetrate each other's areas. 18-yard box and 6-yard box haven't really been hurt that badly. Bar one bit of play by Cameroon, maybe 2. As the ball is now just being launched and hoping that second balls can be won. Can't imagine. Well, I suppose actually there's probably going to be a couple of minutes of added time. We did have the injury to TT earlier on, remember? I suppose we're going to find out in a second. One night taken down nicely by Mbat. He's got an overload with him if he needs it. He doesn't need it. He tries to face it up. Lifts it nicely in. Oh, and that's a good opportunity to make it 2-0. Traore and Kada lining up at the back post. Traore reverse pedaling to try and get there. I think it ended up giving offside, actually. So it wouldn't have mattered. But it was a decent little bit of play by Mbat. Or may have actually been Mbida, actually, number 13. 5 minutes of added time then. What can DR Congo do? Can they make this interesting to the last couple of minutes? Nice little bit of play there by Kabundi. Couldn't get anything to come off of it. Flying in tackle there, rode well by Bengal. And there's a space at the right back. Cameroon cannot punish them, though. Kabundi trying to spread it out to the left-hand side. Nice and calm defending there. go into the last 4 minutes of this game. Cameroon, all they really need to do is hold on to the ball. I believe it's still 2-1 to Ivory Coast. Just going to double check now before we see this game away. It is still, 2-1. Can only be a couple of minutes in that game left as well. Yeah, they're into extra time as well. So the group is about to be defined. Cameroon are about to progress, and Dominican Republic of Congo are about to fall out of this tournament after waiting so long to actually represent here at the Under-17s AFCON. At Total Energies, CAF Under-17s AFCON, to give it its full and proper name. We're going to have to wait another couple of years before, well, potentially next year, actually. The qualifying groups, remember, are out for 2027. I mentioned them earlier, but in Group E is Dominican Republic of Congo, Equatorial Guinea, Sierra Leone, and Zimbabwe. Group G, Cameroon, Comoros, Nambia, and Congo. I think this will give them extra motivation, Dominican Republic of Congo, to try and come back and give a little bit more. See this as a learning opportunity. Develop the squad yet again for next year. A host of players may well be eligible for the next year anyway. They didn't, unfortunately, the squad notes did not come in on for me. I don't quite know all the ages of the individual players, but there will be a handful that will still be eligible for this lineup next year. And the experience that they've gathered in this major tournament will be very useful for the rest of the squad and going forward into higher categories as well, under 19s, obviously under 21, senior football, as all these players look to progress into senior careers. And the fact they've qualified for this is an achievement in itself. They seem to have fallen short on a group that does seem filled with talent. Uganda, Ivory Coast, and Cameroon. All heavyweights of African football. I mentioned earlier about Cameroon's success in this tournament. They've won it twice. They're one of the teams that have been qualified for it the most as well. In the past, well, since 2015, they've qualified every single time and have won it once in 2019. They look like they're going to be going through into the knockout stages as well. One last throw of the dice then for DR Congo. There's space in the midfield, but they tend to go back towards the centre-back again. If you have a look up, number 7, Makela, has got loads of midfield. But Kingu does what he needs to. Catches the ball, puts it on the floor, and then dives on it for the cameras. Making sure that no one is going away from that situation with his ball. Makela nods it back to his goalkeeper, who I imagine, well, he doesn't actually launch it forward. Makela this time tries to find a way down the route of the wing, but it wasn't to be for Dominican Republic of Congo. They crash out of Group B and the Total Energies Under-17s 2026 AFCON. But for Cameroon, they will go through in the automatic spaces in second place, behind Ivory Coast, ahead of Uganda, and look what it means to them. It was by no means the best game. Cameroon will have to do better if they want to progress on from this position. But Omar Sombeng, in the first half, have secured 3 points for them and have secured safety, the route into the automatic knockout stages, I should say. And I mentioned earlier, Dominican Republic of Congo, they haven't scored a goal in this tournament as they crash out. They will finish this tournament on -5 goal difference, but the experience that all of these players will take away from this will be invaluable as they move their way up into the older categories. The players that will still be here potentially next year, well, in the qualifiers and into next year, that will be invaluable. They'll become leaders, and they are still history makers and the first group of players that have ever managed to make it into this tournament.
Cameroon, number 2, George.
There is the player of the match, number 2 for Cameroon, Mbinde.
What's your feeling right now? No, I'm very happy because this is our first time to qualify for the World Cup. So I'm very happy by the good grace. So,
what would you say to your teammates?
No, we have only one feelings, like to impress our players. So we don't have nothing to say again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, he took a point that I was about to make that I should have made earlier, probably, out of my mouth there, in the fact that, of course, it's not just an advancement into the next stage for Cameroon here. It's actually qualification into Qatar World Cup, the Under-17 Qatar World Cup, which is really what all of these players are looking for, isn't it? As they etch their names into the history books, they've put themselves into second place, well ahead of Uganda in the end. And the 2026 FIFA Under-17 World Cup in Qatar will feature Cameroon. That's why they were so happy. That's why they were buzzing. And you can see on the possession, the total shots, the shots on goal makes it look like a bit more of an exciting game. The fouls are really doing tempo the game more than anything. Nearly 50 fouls, 47. And as I mentioned, there's going to have to be slightly better play from Cameroon if they want to advance further into this tournament and do well, of course, in that World Cup. But for the time being, they won't mind that too much. They'll analyse that a little later on. And as
ensure that Brazil
Je m'appelle Adam, je viens de Télévis Football. Je suis fier d'être la première qui fait le football.
Bon après-midi, chers amis internautes. Ici, Magellan Miguel Boc de la Jwel Team. Je suis en direct du stade militaire de Bangkok qui se remplit progressivement avec les supporters.